Happy Spookies, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another edition of Found Footage Friday. So if you're not aware, the found footage phenomenon is a documentary basically going through the evolution of found footage movies. It was written and directed by Sarah Appleton and Philip Scott, and it's streaming currently on Shudder right now. And I'm going to go ahead and say this, there might be some spoilers, so if you haven't seen the documentary, go ahead and go check it out. But I personally was very, very satisfied with this. I was waiting for this. The moment I heard it was coming to Shudder, it did not disappoint. I wish this was the length of the Camp Crystal Lake Memories documentary, which is like 6 hours or so. Honestly, I would be so down for a 6-hour found footage documentary. My biggest takeaway from this was just to hear, I loved hearing all these directors. They interview so many directors. It's insane. I wrote down like every single one. I don't want to go through all of them. They have like Derek Lee, who worked on Afflicted with Cliff Prowse, Patrick Bryce, who made Creep. I love that they have the Paz brothers. They are the ones that directed Jerusalem, which is an awesome found footage movie in my opinion. Kip Tribble, he is directed this cool movie that came out in like 2019 called Charman, which I actually want to review at some point. They talked to Richard Rapphorst. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He's the one that made Frankenstein's Army, which has some of the best creature effects I've ever seen in a found footage movie. In a horror movie, to be honest. Graham Hughes from Death of a Vlogger. I thought that was really cool just to see him in there. They talked to Alison Clark. She made the Devil's Doorway, which is a really neat it takes you back to like the 50s or 60s or somewhere around there. And they're still able to work found footage genre into that time. I loved it. You know, they talk about so many movies. Ghostwatch, Megan is Missing, The Last Broadcast, Found Footage 3D. It was just so neat to hear all these directors talk about like their perspective of the genre and its evolution, or what they feel like is an inspiration or an evolution towards what we have now. They're saying that the first mini found footage movie was actually the intro or opening scene for Alfred Hitchcock's Peeping Tom, which I have not seen yet. And from there, they talk about this other movie called David Holtzman's Diary, which I looked it up. It sounds actually really creepy and like, I don't know, it'd be pretty cool to watch, but about a guy just essentially stalking this girl. But this is sort of like a documentary, mockumentary type of movie. From there, they say that one person considers like Mondo films. I guess it's like the Italian word for Mondo being the Italian word for world. And it's like this, they show like these shockumentary type of films of like the world's first suicide or something like that. It was actually kind of shocking to see that footage. From there, they go ahead and talk about Cannibal Holocaust, which is a huge milestone in the found footage genre, but in my opinion wasn't the first like what we have now found footage movie, which they do get into. But Cannibal Holocaust, definitely you have to recognize for what it did for the genre, because it was the first movie that I believe to like incorporate a found footage theme within a conventional movie, like, you know, a traditionally shot movie. It did set a huge milestone in the genre. I love that they talked to the director. It was so neat to hear his like just his inspiration for the movie. He got the idea from his little son or something like that. Ruggero Deodato, I don't know if I said that right. The guy that he got the idea essentially from his son simply asking him to turn off the news because there's a lot of violence, and he just started thinking, you know, one thing led to another. It was really interesting. And then from there, they essentially jumped to like 89, I believe, which we come to the McPherson tape if you haven't seen. Basically, it's about a UFO abduction of a family. This is essentially the first found footage movie from beginning to end. I'm pretty sure people believe this movie. In the documentary, they show like this interview they have with some UFO guy or something, and he's talking about the movie and how he thought it was real at first or some shit. It was crazy. And from there, they go and talk about Man Bites Dog, which I have not seen. It's a French found footage like mockumentary type of movie about like a serial killer. He has his camera crew following him around. I've heard about it a lot. I just never got around to see it. From there, they go and talk about The Last Broadcast, which is essentially overshadowed by the Blair Witch like a year later, or the year that they came out, either like very close to one another. But it's just about a movie about two guys with a TV show, and they end up going out to the Pine Barrens and trying to figure out if if the Jersey Devil is real. It's a really neat little mystery kind of thriller type of thing. It was really cool. I like how they also talked about after Blair Witch, like it was so unique. Like there were found footage movies that came out after Blair Witch. You know, one thing they didn't talk about the Collingwood story, which I personally feel is a big milestone in the found footage genre, because I believe it to be the first Screen Life type of movie. You know, like the Unfriended movies and things like that. But I thought that was odd they didn't try to seek out those people, because I think they're active on Twitter now. Yeah, they're from like Blair Witch to, they say, like 2007 is where, you know, there wasn't much popularity in the genre. There were some found footage movies. There was one they listed called The Last Horror Movie, which I have not seen. But they're basically, I love how they were saying, you know, it didn't popularize it like Paranormal Activity did. Paranormal Activity and REC really popularized the genre a lot. And after those two movies, essentially, you have like the birth of what we have now. They also talk about technology just being such a cornerstone to the genre, and how technology advances. Every time technology advances, we're gonna get a new sort of found footage style movie. Now we have a lot of Screen Live. You know, have movies like Host, where they just took that Zoom concept and like flipped it on its own. We're like, let's add a horror aspect to it. So as technology advances, we're gonna get more different styles of found footage movies. I really enjoyed that part. I don't know, I can go on and on and on. It was so great, honestly. I loved it. They talk about so many awesome movies. So I jotted down a bunch of movies that I have not seen as I was watching the documentary, and we're gonna go through this and let me know if you've seen these or anything. But these are found footage movies that I have not yet seen from the documentary. The Last Horror Movie, which came out in 2003. I think I've heard about it, I just never seen it. The Zombie Diaries, I really want to check this one out. It came out, again, it was overshadowed by George Romero's Diary of the Dead, which I am not a fan of. I don't know. I'll say that right now. I am not a fan of this movie. If you really want me to go into that movie, I will rewatch it and make a video. I am not a fan. It sucks because, you know, it's fucking George Romero, dude. But where were we? Yeah, The Zombie Diaries came out in 2007. I've heard of that one, just never seen it. I think I've tried to look for it before, and I wasn't able to find it online. They talk about this movie called Redacted, which was directed by Brian De Palma. I was like, wait, what? And I guess it's like a found footage or like mockumentary or something like that. I don't know. I tried looking into it, but it didn't look too much like a found footage movie. But the clip they used, it was essentially in the style of a found footage movie. That was kind of interesting. I think it's more of a mockumentary, or you know, something like that. Koji Shiraishi is in this, of course, and I thought that was fucking amazing. He is one of the best found footage directors out there. He talks about how REC was actually his big inspiration. They talk about his movie Sharon, which I have not seen. Megan is Missing, that's the big one everybody talks about recently. It was blowing up on TikTok, I remember like a year ago or 2 years ago when, I don't remember when, but... End of Watch is one I've heard of. I think that has Jake Gyllenhaal. I guess it's found footage in the style of a found footage movie. I don't know. I've never seen it. I just heard about it, and it's often sometimes brought up in the Facebook group of found footage movies. But I don't know. Let me know if that one's a found footage movie. End of Watch. Hate Crime. I have not seen that one. They talked about this one in the movie. Man Bites Dog. I have not seen that one. We talked about that earlier. And they also show clips from like Marble Hornets, the series. I have not seen that. I've seen like maybe the first episode, and there's like so many of them though. Overall, I was completely and just satisfied. I honestly have watched this about like 2.5 times. I love found footage, and it's definitely one of my favorite genres. But it's just one of the genres I find completely to be immersive, if done right, of course. Just like other bad movies out there outside of this genre, there's gonna be some misses. It was just such a joy to watch all these directors. Eduardo Sanchez, Andre Orvidel, he did Troll Hunter, and then he went to do the Autopsy of Jane Doe, which he talks about that and why he decided to do that. They talked to people that made Ghostwatch. They talked to people that made the Borderlands. They talked to the director of REC, the director of Ghostwatch. I might have said that already, actually. They talk about Apartment 143 and the director of that. That was neat to see. It was just so neat to see a lot of the lesser talked about movies, in my opinion. Okay, this video probably went on for a little too long. I'm just rambling, probably. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm gonna shut up. Happy spookies.